I'm Sandra Fitzgerald, and this is part 2 of our documentary, Friday the 13th. So just to give you a little bit of review, I think we did this first one in October. It was supposed to be 3 parts, but we decided that Thanksgiving had a lot of moving parts, so we just skipped on to Christmas. And again, to review, Friday the 13th was one of the weirdest days of my life and unforgettable. I woke up, had been feeling bad for a while. I'm not talking about a couple of weeks, not a couple of, I'm talking about for months. I had been feeling really bad. And it seemed to just accumulate into just a big ball of goo. I had, my pressure was way high. I had a tooth that had gotten infected. It was just a lot of things going on. And I think I said before, I was talking to my sister Carolyn, and she said, "You sound winded." And I said, "Okay." So she said, "I need you to go to the doctor." And, when somebody tell you that, you sound bad. It puts another spin on things. You're already feeling bad. And then when somebody else notices it, it kind of motivates you to do something about it. So, kind of to shorten the story, I ended up going to the emergency room with my cousin Vivi. So we get there. My pressure was screaming high. My heart rate was crazy. I had a little problem with my heart. Found out I had diabetes. So it's just a lot going on. It was a rough day for me. And being at the hospital, it's not a good feeling anyway. So every time they check my blood pressure, just be going up and up and up. Up, 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 just beep, beep. I thought the blood pressure cuff was going to pop my hand because, if anybody has had high blood pressure, when you check it and it squeezes real hard, that's a sure sign that it's up. So I was just like, Lord, what is going on? So ended up, like I said, had to do heart test and blood test, and they're trying to get blood out of places that you shouldn't be trying to get blood out of, like your back of your hand. Things just wasn't working. And so ended up I had to be admitted. And again, it was a bad day. Friday the 13th lived up to its name for me in September. Yeah. So after I got in the hospital, I saw so many doctors. I can't even remember, or I never remember all the names, but they were all good doctors, and the nurses were amazing. And it was a bad time, but it was a good place because it changed a lot of things for me. Once I got in the hospital and got myself checked out and checked over and squeezed and pushed and tucked and ran and starved and thirsted. Like I said, I found out I had a lot of things going on that I did not know. I knew I had high blood pressure, but I mean, this was like stroke level high blood pressure, and it had been going on for a while. I actually thought that I was not going to be here much longer. I really did. I thought that it was like my end days. And I prayed. I remember praying because a lot of people say you feel cold, touch of death. I didn't feel cold. I just felt like, my time wasn't long. And I remember praying to God, I said, I really want to be here to see my grandchildren grow up. I used to pray to see Brianna grown. God did that. And now my prayer changed. I want to see my little grandsons, more of their life. And I believed that it was going to happen. But I can't say I wasn't scared on Friday the 13th because I was. And God changed it around. After I got out of the hospital, I had to see about 5 different doctors. Had to see my primary care doctor. I had to see my kidney specialist. Had to see my heart doctor. Had to check on my sugar, my neurologist. So it was just a lot of checking up behind the checkup. So I think out of all those doctors, the one I remember most was a little older guy named Dr. Pradeep. His name was Dr. Paran Pradeep. He was an old school doctor. I mean, doctors usually like rush in and out. You barely get to see him, but he sit down with me and he talked to me about change. He said, I can prescribe medication. I can get you a nutritionist. I can do all those things. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you because you are the captain of the ship. He said, do you cook your own food? I said, yeah. He said, do you shop for yourself? I said, yeah. He said, so you have the power in your hands to change. He said, you give your own self-medication? I do. And it made so much sense. I mean, I knew that stuff, but he sat there and it took so much time. And I was telling him my stomach issue to go see my gastroenterologist. And he said, and it was kind of funny. He said, your teeth are in your mouth, not your stomach. So when you rush through your meals, you're not giving yourself time to break that down. And it's causing you to have trouble with digestion. So you need to just take time. Your teeth is not in your stomach. I said, I get that. And anyway, like I said, he was just the coolest little old dude he was. And he helped me a lot. And I still take that with me. We are the captains of our ship. People can tell us what to do. We can know what to do. We can think about what to do. But until we, number one, see the need to change, and number two, be willing to change, and number three, take those steps to walk it out, we're not going anywhere. You got to crank that thing up, and then you got to pull out the driveway, and you got to get going because it's a journey. And it is 3 parts, like I said in October. For me, and I'm sure a lot of you, it's medication, exercise, and nutrition. You can't just do one piece of the pie. It's a pie. You got to do all 3 together because it's not going to work. And I do believe that we can do differently than we have do. A habit is something you do automatically all the time. And you can change your habit. Now, what I did, and it worked for me, I was determined to do some exercise. I have had a lot of back surgeries. And I got a lot of hardware, they call it, in my body. But I was determined I was not going to let that be like something that's going to stop me from doing it. Because if you can walk, then walk. You may not can walk like a marathon, but then get out there and do something. If you can't walk, then they got these little things now that you can put under your desk or at your seat. Little gliders. I don't really know what the correct name for them, but it's kind of like a little treadmill. It's always something you can do. Even if you're lying in the bed, you can get 2 cans and just go up and down, up and down. Long as you got life, you got hope, you got strength. Now, I know where I'm going when I die, but since I'm still here, I'm determined to squeeze every little bit of life out of life that I can and make a difference, not only in my life, but in the lives of the people that love me and the people that I love. Because, like I said, we are the only ones that can do this. Nobody can do it for you. They can want it for you. The people that love you, they can want it for you. They can see the need for change, but real change come from inside. First, you got to change your heart. You got to change your mind. You got to change your thinking, and you have to change your ways. And that comes with the habits. We can form new habits. And it's a journey. You might slack up a little bit today, but you wake up tomorrow, it's another chance to get right back on track and continue the journey. It's not a quick trip around to the store. It's a walking it out. And the thing is, with me, I have been here before. And I call it walk all the way back to Egypt. You let yourself slip. And you start with this sweets and eating this. And it's okay for a little slip every now and then. But you can't let a slip go into a slump. Because once you get in that slump, it is hard to dig yourself out of that. And I'm 61 years old. I don't think it's so many comebacks in the game here now. I feel like this is the time for me to do real work. And I'm determined, and I have accountability coaches. My little grandsons, they own me. Grandma, you walk today? Even when I check my blood pressure, what is it today, Grandma? And I love it because it just lets me know that it's just not about me. And I just want you to be encouraged. It's not just about you. We're all attached. It's a line from each of us. We're attached to one another. So whatever affects me, it's going to affect the people that I love, and vice versa. You are not just alone in this journey. So that's one thing I wanted to leave you from Friday the 13th. And then the second thing I want to leave with you, it's never too late to change. Be open to doing something new. Now, you guys, I am in school. Believe it or not, I decided to take a class. This came from a conversation I was having with my son-in-law. And we were just talking about coaching. And my daughter is getting her master's in psychology. And I said, you know what? I think I could be a life coach, you know? And at the time I was thinking like, you tell somebody what the answer is. But I found out you lead them to the answer that they already have inside. Like I said earlier, the answers to our questions and our problems and issues, they're inside of us. God equips us with a handbook. And whether you believe it or know it or not, the answers that we seek are inside. We know when we wrong. We know when we doing something we shouldn't do. We know when we harmful to ourselves and others. It's called a conscience. It's called a mind. It's called a guide. It's that inside man. And, you know, God put that there for a reason, to keep us on track, to keep us accountable. And so when I was telling him I want to be a life coach, I said, yeah, I think I can do that. But I didn't figure on the laptop time. Because, you know, that's the first time I had sat in front of a laptop. I'm very challenged technically, but, you know, courageous about doing it afraid. I never thought that I would not be able to do it. Now the material comes easily to me because my heart has always been in ministry. I started ministry years ago. And the first word I wrote when God called me to write was administer. So that's the root word. Ministry comes out of that. And ministry is not having to be in the pulpit or having a big platform. And that's fine if that's what you do. But anytime you do anything for anybody, that is a ministry. It is to minister to somebody. I'm administering you a cup of water. That's a ministry. So that's where my heart was, and the life coaching came from. So in spite of the fact that I had these health setbacks on Friday the 13th, something really good came from that because I saw real change, not only in my physical self, but also in my inside, you know, my mental self, my spiritual self. My want to increased. I want to help somebody. I want somebody to know that just because you're a certain size, a certain place in your health, it don't have to be the be all and the end all. If you want to get up, you can. You can get up and you can stay up and you can do something different with your life. And I think I challenge you to stretch yourself. You know, read a book, go to the library, meet new friends, take some yoga, get a massage, do something different that you haven't done. And, you know, let our setbacks be comebacks. You know, we don't want to just leave it at going through the valley. We don't want to camp there. We want to pass through all that. And I know that if I can do it, you guys can do it as well. You know, I believe that with everything that's in me. So how my health is going much better. My numbers are good. I got my diabetes in check. I got my weight down, and I'm feeling much better. I feel like my old self, you know. I had gotten stuck. I had got slumped. And I really had to be pulled up out of that because I was just accepting, you know, this is as good as it gets. You know, never, ever, ever think that as good as it gets because, you know, you never know what's just around the bend. That's my gift to you. It's Christmas season. And my gift to you is turn those Friday 13th around from challenges to achievements because you can do this. If you need to get your health in order, do that. Whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's men in a relationship, you know, challenge yourself, whatever it is, help a family member, be open to doing that because whatever you do for somebody, you're doing it for yourself. When you bless somebody, you bless yourself. When you curse somebody, though, you curse yourself. So just let that be a lesson to you. Friday the 13th was a horrible day, but I got something good out of it, which usually is what happens in life. You learn some things. you become something. You know, a seed have to be buried in the ground to become something else. So don't look on your setbacks as this is where I am. That could be the beginning of something beautiful. I grow flowers, and if I have to pat myself on the back, I do have some nice flowers in the springtime and the summertime. But they all have to be buried. And some have to go through the winter season. It's called a striation point. If you know what flowers do, they have to have, some flowers have to have that winter. They have to have that cold. They have to have that dark to be at their best. And I do believe that's the same thing with us. We have to go through hard places to grow those spiritual muscles like a bodybuilder. He don't get those muscles by eating cake and laying down. He's growing, he's pumping iron. You know, you got to make those muscles grow. In that hard place is where the most of our growth come from. So that's where I'm going to leave it at with you. My Friday 13th was a rough day, but it grew into something beautiful. So thank you for listening, and I hope that this was an encouragement to you. Thanks again, guys.